Morning, guys. I see a couple of you have joined already. I just want to do a quick sound check just to make sure everybody can hear me okay. If you guys don't mind just throwing a hand up if you can hear me okay, I would really appreciate it. We'll be getting going in about 6 minutes or so here. I see some hands up. Awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Guys, I want to do one more quick sound check just before we get going. If I can have anybody who can hear me throw a hand up just so I can see. Awesome. I really appreciate the feedback. Now, I'm going to give everybody another minute just to get situated. I know that there's some attendees who should be here who are not just yet. So I just want to encourage everybody after this webinar ends to go ahead and sign up for a free UniCloud account. Once you connect a unit, you'll have 3 months to trial it in full and get a feel for some of the data passing capabilities in both directions, reading and writing, and also some of the remote access options. Now I have a presentation here, and then at the end we're going to open it up for Q&A. So feel free to put questions in the question box live, and I will tend to them at the end of this presentation. Again, we'll get going in about 2 more minutes. Thanks. Hello, my name is John Anastasides. I'm an application engineer at Unitronics. This is UniCloud, getting started with the basics of UniLogic. UniCloud is the complete no-code IIoT cloud platform for OEMs and machine builders. UniCloud allows you to collect metrics and data to display for users in a format of your choice. I'd like to start with some terminology that will help better understand your UniCloud experience. An asset type is the application at hand. What will consist of the asset type is the telemetry that is being passed from the controller to the cloud interface. This data is then displayed in a format of your choice on defined dashboards that allow navigation to different areas of the interface. An asset is the actual machine that is running in the field holding the asset type that has been created. This asset will consist of a PLC. The PLC is validated by the serial number on the cloud account, which then allows remote access, telemetry to be passed, and also the ability to incorporate a router for internet connection. An organization is a structure that is created for the cloud account that allows users to fall under certain categories for access to specific portions of the account. Machine builders and channels allow devices to be added or subtracted, which then consist of the data that is being collected at the cloud level. The end customer will then be assigned access by these channels in order to gain access to certain portions of the interface that shows data that pertains to their needs. The organizational structure determines what users have access to what within UniCloud. You'll see here on the right an example of a potential structure where assets are added to be able to pass telemetry or be available for remote access only based on the credentials that that particular user has. The UniStream has the ability to interface with the cloud directly without the mandatory use of a router. So long as it has internet connection, the controller will be able to see the cloud and the cloud will be able to see the controller. If the router is giving you your internet connection, it can be used in this case, but there is no actual internal router setup for a UniStream to ultimately have access to the UniCloud or vice versa. The machine builder is going to log into the cloud account and then have the ability to design dashboards, add or delete users, and also be able to determine performance, service needs, and maintenance needs based on the metrics that are being collected by the cloud interface. Dashboards are what you use to display this information for users who have access to the account. The dashboards incorporate navigation to get to and from certain areas of the cloud account. And based on the permissions that you have or the accessibility that you have, you may or may not be able to see certain pieces of the entire dashboard configuration. One of the main features that the UniCloud offers is data presentation. The ability to fully customize what is being shown on the dashboards in colors and configuration of your choice is a very powerful tool. Also, the analytical resources that you have allow you to pull in aggregated data and display it as needed for the users who it pertains to. Asset management allows the ability to add, subtract, and adjust any piece of equipment that is connected to the cloud account. Asset management also allows monitoring of the assets over different protocols. Organization management allows the cloud account to be configured and structured as needed. Whoever needs admin privileges can be assigned these capabilities. Whoever needs to be limited to certain areas of viewing can also be configured. These settings are fluid and can be adjusted as needed depending on if somebody joins the company or leaves the company. These are not set in stone. Secure remote access is also available in the form of web service, VNC, and VPN. I will cover VNC shortly. I would like to take VPN one step further. VPN is going to create a secure tunnel into the controller through the cloud interface. If project or firmware changes need to be made, you have the ability to use VPN to get a secure connection through your cloud account into the controller to perform these tasks. When it comes to dashboard building, the interface is fully customizable. Widgets are drag and drop and codeless. You have the ability to select the data that needs to be displayed and how. When implementing widgets, you have a number of drop-down selections that allow you to choose the properties necessary to show the information as desired. Dashboards also are multilingual. Any dashboard that is created in English can also be converted to Spanish, French, and so on, depending on what users might be interacting with the dashboards that are created. Last but not least, but also most importantly, the interface is completely secure. You must have a valid username and password to even enter the account in order for your assets to be added to the cloud account and then be recognized by the dashboards. The communication is certificate based. MQTT is a very secure protocol that is used to pass this telemetry to the dashboard. What UniCloud offers is the ability to boost efficiency. Using the analytical tools at your disposal, you have the ability to create maintenance schedules, top performance finders, and other user-defined tools that allow you to guarantee the production at certain sites your machines are installed on. Fast commissioning, because no code and because the setup is so easy, you have the ability to add devices to your cloud account and access them immediately. Along with existing units that are in the field that can be added via subscription, we also have a new UniStream available that is a C model that comes with a built-in subscription. Once that controller is connected to the account, the subscription is enabled and therefore gives you built-in cloud capabilities. All that is needed is dashboard creation beyond adding that asset to the cloud account. UniCloud allows you to go live in under 30 minutes. This means that you have a fully integrated IoT solution that is immediately ready to tell you the status of machines and pass vital data. You'll see on this slide that configuring a machine, connecting the PLC, building the dashboards, and managing access is done in minutes. This allows machine builders to analyze metrics and KPIs, which will allow you to improve performance, increase revenue, and always know when a machine is in need of maintenance. This is all done with no code and no previous cloud expertise. UniCloud truly does have it all. Built-in cloud infrastructure, interfaces, and functionality that allow you to achieve maximum efficiency. I would now like to jump into UniLogic. What I would like to show you are the steps necessary to get a controller to the point that it is cloud accessible and able to pass data. Now, before you can start using UniCloud for the first time, you must take the following actions. In UniLogic, you are going to enable your project for UniCloud. You'll then sign up or sign in if you've already made an account. You're then going to create an asset type, include any data or alarms that you wish to make accessible on the cloud. Next, you'll sync the asset type and download the project to the PLC. In UniApps, we're going to activate UniCloud in the PLC, and on the cloud account itself, we will make sure all the legwork is taken to validate the serial number and ultimately build dashboards. First and foremost in the project, we must adjust the panel Ethernet settings so that the cloud is able to recognize the PLC on the internet. Navigate to panel Ethernet under Physical PLC Communications. Set your IP scheme needed and add a DNS so that this type of communication will be possible. 8.8.8.8 is Google's DNS, which should always be recognizable. You will then want to enable VNC. In password management, you can enable with no password or enable with a strong password. This is going to give you the capability to allow remote access between the cloud and the controller. If you wish to control the HMI, either on a dashboard or in device management, this is a vital step. Now that I have configured the Ethernet settings and enabled VNC, I can enable UniCloud. In the solution tree, select UniCloud and click to enable integration. You are prompted to start by logging in. If you have not signed up for an account yet, choose this sign up link, and what you will need is a valid email address, name, company name, and location. You will be sent an invitation email, which you then can set up your login credentials. Once you have these credentials, use them to sign into your account in the software. Once logged in, you are prompted to create an asset type. Go ahead and click this plus. The organization name that I have selected when I created my account is UniCloud Webinar. If you can remember, the asset type is the application that will be running in the particular asset we are adding to our cloud account. I'm going to name this asset type UniLogic Cloud Webinar. I'm going to create the asset type. And in the software, you will now see your organization name, your asset type name, the status being draft, which means it has not been published yet. We can still make changes to what we want available in this asset type. And we can begin to configure what information will be passed as telemetry. If we expand asset type, we can choose tags to add new tags to be passed as telemetry to the cloud from the controller. Choose the plus to add a tag and select or create which tag you would like to pass as telemetry. In my project, I am manipulating a value with logic so that we can see it update on the cloud interface. I have also configured an alarm that will register at the cloud level as well. I'm going to choose current value. You'll see my usage count increases to 1. The usage count is the total amount of bytes in the selected tags, and it is the basis for calculating what subscription you will ultimately need for your application. I am then going to configure my alarms. I must enable them for UniCloud, and then I can select which alarms that will be passed as telemetry as well. I only have one alarm configured currently. I am going to pass this along with my current value as telemetry from the controller to the cloud. I am then going to select remote access and enable so I can use VNC at the cloud level as well. I'm then going to go back to asset type and I'm going to sync my asset type to the cloud. Anytime that changes are made to the asset type, you must sync the asset type so that the cloud and the project both recognize that the same tags are being passed. This is very vital. I am then going to download my PLC project with a download all. Now, this is a very simple implementation of what the cloud is actually capable of. Depending on the telemetry that is needed for users to be able to view and monitor, more and more tags can be added to your asset type telemetry list. For example, if your machine is tracking the number of runtime hours, these runtime hours can be passed to the cloud as telemetry, and you can use this along with the analytical tools that you have at the cloud level to determine a predicted maintenance schedule. Something like this is very valuable. Anybody who has access to that particular information on the cloud, let's just say if you have a number of people who would be in the field performing maintenance, everybody who can log in and see that cloud dashboard knows exactly what machines need maintenance at all times. This cuts down on wasting time in the field and allows everybody to be more efficient. You can see this project has been downloaded. I am now going to log into my cloud account. Navigate to unitronics.io. Enter your credentials and log into your account. Navigate to device management to add an asset to the list. Choose add on the right. And what you must first do is choose the asset type that has been created previously. I'm going to choose UniLogic Cloud Webinar. You'll see that this has been created for a PLC type UniStream. This means that you will not be able to link this project to a Vision unit through a router. I then need to validate my serial number. If validated, the catalog number will appear for that specific serial number. I then need to name my asset. I'm going to hit save. My device appears in my list as available. What is needed for the UniStream next is to download the certificate and load it via UniApps. I'm going to choose download. Now you will see this certificate downloaded on the bottom left-hand corner of my screen here. There are two methods to load this certificate. You can manually do it with the USB stick in UniApps at the face of the controller. If you have connection to your cloud account, however, you have the ability to do this automatically. I'm going to open a VNC viewer on my PC, connect to the controller, enter UniApps. In the Network tab, I'm going to page over to UniCloud. To activate UniCloud, on the UniCloud tab, select Activate UniCloud. I'm going to load the certificate directly from my cloud account. To do this, you must log in with your username and password. If you do not use this method, you will be placing that downloaded certificate on a flash stick and inserting it into the face of the panel to do it manually. Choose OK. And next, we need to fat finger our password. And once entered, choose apply. What this is going to do is validate us and make sure that we have an actual connection to that cloud account. You're then going to get a load certificate status, and you'll see from this message here that we have success. I'm then going to choose close. On my asset type, I can then choose start sending data to enable my cloud service. I'm going to choose OK. And you will see the communication status go to connected, and then also get a pop-up message that lets you know that you have successfully changed state. I see here that I'm connected, and on my cloud account, I can refresh the page to show that my status is now connected. At this point, I have the ability to pass telemetry to my dashboards. In order to show this pass telemetry, we can navigate to our dashboard editor, which in the vertical toolbar is the pencil. And since none are added, I'll go ahead and create my first new dashboard. You must name the dashboard. What we are going to do on this dashboard is pull that value that is being manipulated at the project level, and also the alarm that is being tripped at the project level, and display it via a number of widgets. After naming the dashboard, you must configure the scope of what this dashboard has the ability to see. Based on the number of organizations on the account, the number of asset types that have been created, the date range needed, and the geography desired, you have the ability to configure this particular dashboard as needed. For this simple example, we will keep the scope as default and choose Create. I now have the ability to configure my dashboard how I would like to view the metrics that are getting pulled in. Since I have a value that is being manipulated at the project level, let's show this number on the dashboard in a number of ways. In my tools, I'm going to scroll over to a radial gauge, and I'm going to drop it here on my dash. I must first choose the asset type that I would like to reference. That was the one that we just created. Next, I'm going to choose the data that the widget is going to display. For my asset properties, I have the ability to assign a number of parameters that are cloud level to this widget. For the sake of example, I'm going to choose my asset name. And I'm then going to select that current value that is being manipulated at the project level to show in the widget itself. I'll choose Next. I am curious about the last value on every update. So I'm going to choose last value. If I was calculating an average, if I was trying to find out the max value that has been passed, the minimum value that has been passed, this would be a situation where I would be choosing aggregated data. I then have the ability to use my analysis tools to show this data as necessary. I'm going to choose Next. I'm going to pull the current value into my data and metrics. I'm going to name the widget. And I then have the ability to determine what my aesthetic properties will be like sizing and coloring. I'll choose Next. If I want to select this widget and jump to a different dashboard that has been created, the navigation menu is where I can set this type of jump up. Since all I am doing is displaying the machine data in this case, I'm going to go ahead and choose Finish. Once my telemetry updates, the last value seen will be shown on the dashboard. Now I am using the default rate of 5 minutes. If I want to change this, I'm going to navigate over to device management, open up my asset, navigate to subscription, edit this value to 1 second, and now my value will be updating at a much faster rate. Now we have not published this dashboard yet, so right now it is still in draft mode. I'm going to set this over here, and next I'm going to display this value as a trend. I'm going to grab a line from my toolbox up here. Next, I'm going to make sure that I have my asset type that I am referencing. When you drop a line graph, there are a number of cloud level properties that are automatically assigned for you. That is the asset ID, the asset name, and the date and timestamp. What this helps does is set up the aesthetic properties of what the trend is going to look like when it comes down to the key. If you had multiple devices shown on one trend, all of this information is going to help distinguish what device is showing what information. Now under tag data, I'm going to choose current value again, and I'm going to choose next. This time, we cannot choose last value. If we wanted to calculate maybe an average of multiple machines on one trend, I could choose aggregated data. If all we're curious about is the live raw update data, I'm going to choose raw update and select next. I then have the ability to pull that current value into my data and metrics. And the preview will give you an idea of what this data is going to look like. I'm going to choose next. I have the ability to name this widget trend of current value. Depending on how many feeds, I could choose the color of what these feeds will look like on the graph. I then have the ability to determine the y-axis with the number of decimal digits. If I continue to scroll in these properties, I have legend options, tooltip options, and data labels. I'm going to choose next. Again, if I wanted to set up navigation to jump somewhere else on my cloud account, I could set up the navigation here. I'm going to go ahead and choose finish. Make this a little bit bigger, and you'll see that as this raw data comes in and updates, the trend will update accordingly. Now, since I also have alarms that have been configured, I'm going to pull an alarm widget down and create an alarm table. The asset type that I would like to reference is UniLogic Cloud Webinar still. I'm then going to assign some properties. I'm going to choose the asset name and maybe also the geographical location of where this machine is at, along with the alarm info. I can choose alarm index, if the alarm is active, the severity, the timestamp, and maybe the duration of how long that alarm has been active for. Choose the properties desired and select next. I'm going to choose the last value for this alarm. So when this telemetry updates, what I will be seeing in my table is what the last value was. Now I have the ability to structure my table as desired. I'm going to choose the asset name, geography, severity, alarm name, and the timestamp. And we'll show if this alarm is active as well. Now you'll see here in the data preview what this table is going to look like when there is an alarm on. If I choose next, I have the ability to determine what I want my column headers to be. I'm going to change these to make them look a little bit nicer on screen. I can also change the column widths if needed. These names are different. The asset name is the actual asset name. The name that you see that I just filled in is the alarm name and the timestamp. I also have the ability to change colors, and I'm going to go ahead and choose next. Last but not least is navigation. If I wanted to jump to a different dashboard based on selecting this widget, I can do so. I'm going to choose finish, and my alarm table has been created. Now I can see my current value, my alarm state, and anything else I would like to add to this machine data dashboard. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to add a VNC widget so that if I wanted to operate the HMI from this dashboard, I have the ability to do so. I'm going to click and choose VNC. I'm going to drag and drop it down here. Now, the VNC widget is very simple. And honestly, it leads to a little bit of confusion, but how it is referenced, I will show you very shortly. What we're going to do is name this the VNC for my machine data page, and I'm simply going to choose finish. Now, the way that the web and the VNC is referenced is through the actual asset ID filtering. And I'm going to show you that right now just so it clears that question up. If I scroll down to see the preview, right now I'm not going to have anything on my dashboard to view. And that's because right now this widget does not know what it is referencing. I'm going to publish it so that it is a global dashboard. And you'll see that it is now here in my editor. If I want to see what this dashboard looks like, I have the ability to preview it here, and I also can choose the main page icon. Right now, there is a current value of 69. You will see the trend in its raw format, and you will see alarms as they update as well. VNC has no asset selected as the message. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to create an overview dashboard. Let's just say if I had multiple assets in the field and I wanted to show them on a map, select them from the map, and then jump into their actual data dashboards. What I can do is I can create a new dashboard, name it, select the scope, and choose Create. In order to show all my assets on a map, I'm going to scroll over to the Map widget, place it on the dashboard. I'm only concerned with the UniLogic Cloud webinar asset type. Now, similar to the line trend, there are default data tags for the map as well. There is the asset ID, geography, and status. What these pertain to is when they are laid out on the map, you actually have a pop-up when you hover over that individual instance to show these elements. If you wanted to add another element, maybe an asset type level tag, you have the ability to do so here. I am not going to do that for this example. I'm going to choose next. We're going to choose last value as the scope. We can set up any filtering needed, and we can give this map a name. I only have one asset configured, but this could be my map of total assets and their location. Now here is where I am going to dive deeper into the navigation portion of the menus. What I want to do is I want to select this asset from my map, jump into the machine data for that particular asset running an asset type, and this is how VNC is going to be referenced. So I'm going to start by choosing navigate per asset type. I'm going to choose the dashboard that I want to jump to, and that is machine data. And then I will filter by asset ID. So depending on what portion of the map I'm selecting on, or what machine in the map I'm selecting on, if that asset ID is selected, it is going to load all of the pertinent information for that particular ID, and this is how VNC is going to be shown. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Finish. I'm then going to size this accordingly. And I'm going to choose Publish. So now that I have my two dashboards created, I can see my or preview my overview page. And if I hover over my asset that has been added here, you will see the pop-up that I was referring to earlier, where I could have also added telemetry level tags to this pop-up. These are just the default selections. But if I choose my asset, because of the navigation I have configured for the map, it is going to load the pertinent machine or the current machine data that is being passed to the cloud from the controller. I can see the current value in gauge format, trend format. I can see the alarm table, and I also have the ability to see and operate the controller directly from the VNC widget. As I click around here on my VNC widget, the PLC that is in the field is jumping to these screens as well. So you are actually controlling the HMI from your cloud dashboard. This is the power of what the cloud offers. Analyzation, control, and also organizational structure for all of the users who have access to the cloud account. At this point, I am going to open it up for Q&A. Guys, feel free to throw any questions in the question box. I do have a couple that I want to tend to right off the bat. I have a couple of questions regarding the ability to share this video. This video will absolutely be available. It takes a minute for the recording to be generated, but shoot an email into our support box and I can get a copy out to anybody who would like it. Now, in addition to the video recording, I do have some tutorials on connections. So I know that that was kind of the full example of connecting. I have a very brief and direct video for connecting a UniStream. I also have videos for connecting third-party devices and also Vision series and Samba series units through the router. Question about downloading revised programs through the cloud. Absolutely. You have the ability to initiate a VPN connection from the cloud interface, right? So once you have the UniStream or the Vision series or Samba series unit connected to your account and it's in the connected state, you can initiate VPN. That's going to give you the VPN widget is initiated through the dashboard, right? But it's a standalone utility that's going to give you an IP address and potentially port settings in order to get connection through the cloud and tunnel into the PLC. And you, at that point, can use online test mode. You can make revision or application changes and so on. Question about inputting data into the PLC. What you can do is you can set up widgets on your cloud interface and allow them to write values back to the controller. So let's just say, for an example, this dashboards don't necessarily have to be read only, right? You can have a write capable widget that allows you to maybe change a set point of a zone temperature. If you wanted to change maybe the brightness of the controller or the HMI, things to that nature, you can write values back right from the dashboard themselves. Now, you can allow users to do this, or you can block users from doing this. But if you are allowing them the capability to do this, this is independent of the update rate that you have for your subscription. If you are writing to the controller, the second you press enter, that value is going to update in the controller. So be mindful of that, right? That can be very helpful in some scenarios, but detrimental in other scenarios. You cannot delete asset types currently. Question about deleting asset types. Just to piggyback on that, once you publish an asset type, it is concrete. You cannot bring it back into draft mode. So if you want to leave a asset type open for changes, it does not hurt the asset type to be in draft mode eternally, right? Once you update the asset type to be to a published state, that is when it is now non-editable. Question about widgets not fitting into the view sometimes. If you can show us that, if you can maybe make a video or a recording of the screen when you're seeing that issue and send it into support, we can definitely tend to that request. I'm not 100% sure if I have ever seen that. So you know who you are. Shoot that into support and we can comment further on any video that you can show us. Okay, I appreciate you guys attending. Any additional questions, feel free to shoot them into our support box, give us a call, shoot us an email. We are happy to assist with anything technical and commercial when it comes to UniCloud. So please keep us in the loop and let us know. Again, my name is John Anastasides. I would be happy to answer any additional questions and provide any further documentation. Oh, we got a buzzer beater. This video, again, just shoot an email into the support box and we can get these recordings out to anybody who needs them. So follow up with support. Shoot an email into support@unitronics.com and we can get you a recording. All right. Have a great day, guys, and Let us know if we can assist.